Prosperity is a herbal remedy that has been naturally designed to nourish the prostate gland. Prosperity uses a combination of leaves, roots, and barks to create a tincture designed to nourish your prostate gland. It also will assist in prostate-related issues such as erectile dysfunction, swollen prostates, and problems related to the passage of urine. Call or WhatsApp 728-8289, 728-8289 and get your bottle today. Prosperity.
Family. I mean that family. Our youths, our young ones, our children, we need them, redeem them, and clean them. You see them, or else the enemy will come and scheme them. Family. I mean that. Family. Education for the nation that's full of salvation, biology, astronomy, and African theology, geography. Family. I love that. Family. Whatever the age or the stage, that youth will be engaged with tutorials, activities, and videos from the studios of the Priest Isaac Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Family.
The International Homeschool program is designed and recommended for all ages. The psychological state of our children is very important, especially in the environment that most of us live in. The International Homeschool program provides online classes, activities, and videos that are fun for the youth and edifies them of their African heritage as well as the higher sciences. To enroll your family today, visit www.priestisaacinstitute.com, go to the main website, and search for Youth Corner. Or you can email priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com for a course sample. Give thanks.
In just a few weeks, a power struggle in Ethiopia between Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and the rebellious Tigray region in the country's north has escalated into armed conflict.
Abiy Ahmed says the offensive will end soon when the rebels are brought to justice.
Well, it's almost impossible to verify any information from Tigray. Virtually all communications are blocked. He posted this message on Facebook threatening final enforcement action in the coming days. In the past few hours, he said his troops are marching on the regional capital, Mekelle, which is held by the TPLF, and he's claiming significant victories.
25,000 people have now fled to Sudan since fighting broke out. Half of them are children.
Ethiopia will not accept external mediation and will also not allow aid agencies into the country or journalists into the country. Same question, why?
Well, just have this is an issue to
is be true to what you said on paper.
certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. So just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. To live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will.
Yeah. And it's time to do the will of Kadamawe Haile Selassie. Give thanks for your presence with us, royal family. Give thanks for another beautiful evening for us to come together and sup and sip and, of course, take this to another level. This is the Tiger's Nest, definitely Radio Anu, the international flavor, the universal spice. Your humble servant here with you on a beautiful evening once again as we are looking to take this to another level as we always do. Just welcome in everyone that is joining us wherever you may be. Welcome you in, welcoming you in, yes, definitely into the zone, wherever you may be definitely located. Of course, all of our brothers and sisters in Africa, in Ethiopia, in Eritrea, that's where we are this evening. We are continuing the reasoning and the discussion as it relates to our brothers and sisters in the Horn of Africa and, of course, their current situation. And definitely this evening, we're going to be touching upon the spirit of Menelik II as it relates to all of this. But for sure, it's going to be an in-depth reasoning this evening. Of course, you know, when we sealed up previous evening, we already would have covered a lot of the, let's say, the foundational history, or what many people consider the foundational history of the current conflict or series of conflicts that will be taking place in Abyssinia. And remember, Abyssinia, although we understand Ethiopia, the known Ethiopia today to be Abyssinia, Abyssinia was actually referred to, it was the Arab world that referred to the whole Horn of Africa as Abyssinia. So in their terminology, Somalia and Somaliland and a lot of that region, Djibouti, all of that is Abyssinia, really. But we consider modern day Ethiopia, along with Eritrea as well, to be, I guess, Abyssinia before it became Ethiopia. But it's just like the term Ethiopia, which is not really confined to one landmass like what we know today. And it's the same thing with the term Kush. We would have had that conversation even recently, how the term Kush, you know, can be spread abroad. There was a time when Egypt was Kush, ancient Kemet, and that is during the time of the 25th dynastic period, when the Kushite kingdom would have controlled all of that region going to the north. So definitely give thanks for your presence, royal family. Again, this is the Tiger's Nest. This is a program that comes to you every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time. Once again, right here, PriestIsaacInstitute.com. That is the hub of Radio Anu, the Institute's website, the Priest Isaac's Institute of
holistic knowledge. And for sure, as I said, Royal Family, you can even subscribe to this radio program. And you know, when you become a subscriber, when you become a part of the subscription team, basically what happens is that you never miss another episode of the program again. So those of you who missed the program previous night, well, once you are a subscriber, no need to worry. You're going to get the program in your inbox via the email. And of course, it's right there. You can go and scope it for yourself because we covered a lot. Of course, we were listening to that documentary that was definitely done by the Tigrayan people, highlighting their plight, highlighting their situation. Of course, we had to do a little critiquing of it ourselves because of, you know, how it is with this slight misinformation. One brother talking about Haile Selassie came back to Ethiopia after World War II. You know, we had to stamp that out. We can't be playing with that kind of stuff because, you see, the thing is, a lot of what is taking place in Ethiopia, you know, the Emperor Haile Selassie, the Emperor Menelik II, a lot of Ethiopians, Eritreans, Somalians, a lot of people tend to blame them for the current situation. It's all about miseducation and misunderstanding of a lot of things. Now, we would have taken the time to go through this previous night on different levels. Again, the reality is that it's undeniable that the history, as it relates to the different factions and the different tribes or kingdoms, without a doubt, it's something that you can observe even from the time of King Theodore II, Tuados II, for sure. And then we highlighted when Johannes IV came into power. Now, Johannes, a lot of ones are not pleased with Johannes because he opened the way for the British and Napier, General Napier, to come into the region of Ethiopia where King Tuados would have had his base. And of course, you know, Napier and his gang came upon the Ethiopians and they had a battle where history says the Emperor Tuados II, Theodore II, would have committed suicide, would have taken his own life. And what would have happened when Johannes IV would have held on to power? Johannes now was from the northern region. That is the same Tigrayan region. Remember Eritrea and all of that, you know, a lot of people in Eritrea is of Tigrayan origin, some of them of Afar origin. Afar is basically another section, another people, you know. And at the time now, you had the kingdom of, or the lordship of all of these different provinces. So you had the lordship or the kingdom of Wolo. You understand? You had the lordship of Tigray. You had the lordship of Shoa. You had the Gala people. You had all of these different factions and tribes because modern day Ethiopia now, remember, it's the Oromos, which is really the majority of the people. You have the Amhara people. You have the same Tigrayan people. You also have the Somali people as well. So a lot of the individuals in the eastern part, the southeastern part of Ethiopia are considered from the Somali region. Somali is not necessarily just a country. As you could see, they have Somaliland and they have Somalia, where the people of Somalia, or at least the leadership of Somalia, is claiming that Somaliland is not Somaliland, it's Somalia. They're just being rebellious and trying to do their own thing, you know. But the region that even encroaches into Ethiopia now, modern day Ethiopia, those people are really ethnically of the Somali people. You get what I'm saying? Now, again, it was Menelik II, Menelik the Great, that would have engulfed these people into his empire. You know, history would say he conquered them, maybe to make it look like some British expedition taking place here, expedition taking place here. But Menelik II, if you understand the history, you just take your time and read the history. Menelik II, quote unquote, conquered that region. So that's why you have the Harar region, not just the city of Harar now, but the whole province of, it's more written Harage. That's a very large region. Now just meditate on this. These people loved Menelik II. These people loved Ras Mokenen. Ras Mokenen was the governor of Harar. And we all know that the people loved Ras Mokenen. Remember, Harar, the city, is considered to be the fourth holiest city in Islam. So Menelik II conquered a whole Islamic region. And the people love him. Haile Selassie I came and had the same sort of, relationship with that whole region. So what kind of conquering that? What kind of conquest you, although, don't get me wrong, although there's a lot of tension still, between the Somali people and even the current government, even during the time of the King of Kings. And I would imagine there were those, even during the time of Menelik and Ras Mokenen, who were not pleased that they were taken over by a Christian government. So I'm not going to be romantic about this. I'm not romanticizing. I'm just being realistic. But for sure, history does not show the sort of aggression that you may pick up in today's geopolitics. You understand? In fact, let me repeat, the people loved Ras Mokenen. No one can deny that. The people loved Haile Selassie as the Deshmark Tefari when he was governor of Harar. Where else? Who else I was talking about? Menelik II. The people loved Menelik II, their conqueror. So we have to be careful how we utilize history. And why I'm bringing that up, because many people would take that history somehow and try to put a stain on Menelik II. Oh, well, he was the one. That's why last night I highlighted now the naysayers that would say that Menelik II, when he defeated the Italians at the Battle of Adwa, many said, many historians say that he should have advanced northwards to totally drive the Italians away from what is now Eritrea. And you have to understand again, you have to have an appreciation for how Ethiopia really became the Ethiopia that you know today, as I just highlighted. And we have to give all these different kingdoms their credit. We talk about Ethiopia being unconquered. That is true. But it is that whole Horn of Africa with the different factions that had, existed over the years, the centuries really, that individually would have ward off the enemies as well. As I just said, Johannes opened the door for the British to come and have a conflict with the emperor of the day. And then he became the emperor. That's Emperor Johannes, the king of Tigray. But yet still he became the king of all of Ethiopia. He became the emperor of Ethiopia. And when he now, Johannes IV, died in battle, and they chop off his head, Menelik II, the king of Shoa now, that's a next lordship in the south, he became the emperor. Now, Emperor Menelik is of the Amhara group. As I said, Johannes is of the Tigrayan group. So from that time, you could see a shift of power then, let's put it that way, from the Tigrayan people, which is really who Johannes represented, to the Amhara people. So the Amhara people now, those who spoke Amharic, pardon me, those who speak it, not spoke it, they're still speaking it up to now, Amharic. It is the official language of Ethiopia. But little do you know, many Ethiopians have a gripe with that because they consider what Menelik II did and what Empress Zaditu and Haile Selassie continued to do was to as such, make Amharic or Amharic, anyhow you pronounce it, the official language for all of Ethiopia, meaning that now that the the tongue of the Oromo people and the tongue of the Tigrayan people and the Gala tongue and the Somali tongue and all of these different tongues. They consider that these tongues were suppressed. Well, what it was, I mean, if you're building an empire, if you're building a United States of whatever you're building, you do need a common language. And that's really what it was. It's only common sense. You do need a common language. And this is why many of us would be surprised when we hear that a lot of Ethiopians do not understand the history, their own history. They do not understand the history of Menelik II. They do not understand the history of Haile Selassie. They do not understand the history of Ras Mokenin, the Battle of Adwa. A lot of Ethiopians do not understand their own history. And you may wonder why. Many of us, me and you, we know more about Ethiopian history than many Ethiopians. Why? As I said previous evening, this is not because of the British or the French, It's because of the Tigrayans. It's because of the Oromos. It's because of the Gala. It's because of the Somalia. It's because of even factions in the Amhara tribe of people as well. I mentioned what David Banner said in a documentary. The documentary was the 13th Amendment. And David Banner said he was living in Kenya amongst the Maasai people. And he has come to realize that the biggest religion is tribalism. I can see that. The biggest religion is tribalism, not Christianity, not Islam, tribalism. As big as Christianity is in Ethiopia, as big as Islam is in Ethiopia, when it comes to the war, it's not Christianity versus Islam, It's not one side full of Christians and one side full of Muslims. Yes, I would agree. Most of the Somalia people or the Somali people are of Islamic religion as such. Their ethnicity deals a lot with Islam. But when you look at the war between Tigray and the Ethiopian administration, you have Christians and Muslims in the army on both sides. So it's not no religious war taking place here. The same thing with the Eritreans. You have Christians and Muslims on the same side, and they're fighting Tigray, helping the Ethiopians at one time, and then they're fighting the Ethiopians at another time, and then they make peace, and now they're fighting again. It's a lot of confusion. So it's tribalism. It's tribal war. As the song say, we don't need no more of that, but that is what's taking place. So again, let's return to the history. So from Menelik II to Haile Selassie I, that's the Amhara rule. When Mengistu come in, it's still a next set of Amhara people again, It is only when the Mengistu government was overthrown in 91 that you have, mostly with the resistance power of the Tigrayan Liberation Party, what they call the TPLF, and then also with them moving the Derg out of the way, they formed a coalition government amongst the different liberation factions from Oroma, Amhara, and the other smaller groups. They all were fighting for their liberation. I mean, the Derg was horrible. Nobody liked the Derg, so everybody came together to move the Derg. Good. So even the Derg's own tribe came together to move the Derg. But when the power now came to that, coalition rule, the TPLF or the Tigrayan people were really the dominant people. So you could see they have the power again. In 2018, just going through this quickly because we covered some of this previous evening. In 2018, when the present Prime Minister came to power, Abiy Ahmed, when he came to power now, that brought in the rule of the Oromo people. And again, we're going to highlight some of this evening. Even people that were in the Tigrayan government said that what we should have done at the time was to spread the power amongst all the different tribes and kingdoms, but we basically kept it for ourselves. That was why people rose up against them, because the Oromo people were feeling left out, the Amhara people were feeling left out, the Tigrayan people have all the power now, like we back in Johannes days, you know, for those who know the history, but many don't know the history. And that's why I said earlier, that's why they don't know the history, because the different groups keep the history of the other groups away from each other. So if you don't like the Amhara people, you're not going to be teaching them about no King of Kings and Haile Selassie and Menelik the Great, when you consider Menelik the Great should have ran the Italians all the way out of Eritrea when he defeated them in 1896 at the Battle of Adwa. But history shows that Menelik and his troop was really battle fatigued. That's just the reality of it. If they did any more than that, it could have been problems. You understand, family? You see, so the history is very, it's technical. And why Menelik II now is such a key point here. And why I am saying that the spirit of Menelik II is involved in all of this is because, you know, remember, this is the mystic vibration, you know. Menelik II himself is a mystic man. Almost everything that is around us, geopolitically, historically, whatever, if you take your time and look at it, you will see the mystics within. Now, there was an election that was held in the province of Tigray. And this election, pardon me, was for, you know, of course, it was supposed to be a national election, meaning that the whole country was supposed to be voting. But COVID was in the area. Now, this, remember, 2018, Prime Minister Ahmed came to power. He won the Nobel Peace Prize and all of that stuff, or received the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know if it's something you win, but he received it because he made peace with Eritrea and all of that. And so there was an election in Ethiopia. Now, the people of Tigray, the Tigrayan people, they were already at odds with the central Ethiopian government. And because of COVID and everyone had on masks, etc., you know, the government said, well, tell you what, we can't do this election in this sort of condition here. So let's hold off and we will take care of this when the COVID pass. But the Tigrayan people said, no, we're going to have the election. And they had the election. Now, apparently that seems to have been the straw that broke the camel back, that really incited the latest rounds of shellings that took place between 2020 and 2022. So the war officially started on the 3rd of November. The conflict, I think it's called a conflict, you know, civil tension. So this civil tension, because it's one country, you know, even him, the prime minister, would have said in different interviews that it doesn't make sense. You know, we're bombing ourselves. That doesn't make sense. He said he would never attack Tigray, you know. He said he would never attack Tigray because it doesn't make sense. An interview I saw, he almost like, you know, scolded the interviewer. Like, what kind of question is that? You expect me to attack my own people? But then afterwards, he came again and said, well, you know, because of the rebellion, we have to suppress the rebellion. And you know how you suppress rebellion, eh? Right. It's not with, it's with bombs and guns and heavy artillery. That's how you suppress rebellions. So that's what took place. Now, all of that began on the 3rd of November, 2020. Now, this is interesting because this is that was the 131st anniversary of the coronation of Menelik II. the war began. Ethiopia, to use the term, attacked Tigray. Now, they wouldn't, I don't think they would refer to it as an attack. But of course, the Tigrayan people are going to see it as an attack. Somewhat as an innocent, we didn't do them nothing kind of stuff. But that's not what the other side would say. The other side made the attack as such, or what they consider to be a suppression of hostilities, I guess, because the enemy was being hostile, or their brother was being hostile to their central authority. Basically, that's what it is, politically or diplomatically speaking. But when they attacked on the 3rd of November, that was the 131st anniversary of the coronation of Menelik I. You must understand, it's one of two things. One of two things. In that diplomatic political world, remember there's a strong sense of masonry there. Not because it's Ethiopia, that come on, man. There's a strong sense of masonry there. So dates are chosen very symbolically. Or it could just be the mystics of the heavens aligning with the situation, one of the two. One of the two. So when you look at these things, family, when dates align with events, it's either the people that are pushing the button to cause the event purposely took the time to align the date with the event for, their own symbolic reason, or the events would perfectly become aligned with the heavens and the movements of the cosmic and the stars and the constellations, etc. So again, Ethiopia attacked on the 3rd of November. So the war began officially on the 3rd of November. That's 2020. And it officially came to an end on the 3rd of November. 2022. Now that's the 133rd anniversary of the coronation of Menelik II. So follow me, good there, family. You may say, so what are the odds of it coming to an end, the war coming to an end on the anniversary of this, the beginning of the war, which is the 3rd of November. And interestingly, the same beginning and end of the war, 2 years apart, is the day that the great Menelik II, was coronated. The war began 2020 and 2022. It's all twos in the date, all twos. The second, all twos. And Menelik II is not just a character we pull out of the clouds. When the war was going on, many historians, especially Tigrayans, were saying, oh, this is Menelik II's fault. That Haile Selassie. These were the people that were being blamed, even for the current situation today. Because Menelik go and conquer land, and Menelik didn't run the Italians all the way out of Eritrea and all sorts of other things. And they try to impose their language on us and all sorts of other things you get. All right. Now, I'm not being judge or jury. I'm just showing you how interesting it is that this climax of a conflict that took place just 2 years ago, basically 2 to 4 years ago, because it began about 4 years ago and it ended about 2 years ago. Once again, it began in 2020 on the 131st anniversary of the coronation of Menelik II. And it ended on the 133rd anniversary of the coronation of Menelik II in the year 2022. Because interestingly, on the 3rd of November, and at this time I wasn't even really clocking this, on the 3rd of November 2021, in between, that was our first Patrons Day, when we officially launched Radio Anu. I hope you can keep up with everything I'm saying, eh? The 3rd of November, everybody know Patrons Day is about not only the relaunching or the resurrection of Radio Anu, but the coronation of Menelik II. The 3rd of November is our Patrons Day. This Patrons Day this year will be our 4th Patrons Day. So our first Patrons Day was in 2021 on the 3rd of November. Now the year prior to that, on the 3rd of November 2020, the conflict began between the Central Ethiopian government and Tigray. And the year after that, the year after our Patrons Day, which is that was our 2nd Patrons Day. So in other words, while we were conducting our 2nd Patrons Day, which was the 3rd of November 2022, the peace agreement, I assume, if you want to call it that, was signed between the Central Ethiopian government and the Tigrayan people. Of course, hostilities still remain, but according to the books, the war came to an end. So this war came to an end. Give thanks for our patrons, the Honorable Prince.
Give thanks.
So the war came to an end, interestingly, 133rd. Now that's an interesting Psalms there. Psalms 133 is the Psalms of brotherhood and peace. Is the Psalms of brotherhood and peace. It says, I don't have the Bible in front of me, but I think I should be able to at least quote it, or maybe not fully correctly, but behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brothers, it says brethrens, I think, but brethrens and sisters to dwell together in unity and love. Here it's in, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren and sisters to dwell together. I add the sisters, some say sistrens, together in unity and love. Now, that's a statement, The psalmist is telling you to behold. He's going to show you something here. He says, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for Idrins to dwell in unity and love. Okay, I'm beholding. It's like the precious ointment or oil that anoints the head and even run down the beard, even Aaron's beard that went to the skirt of his garments. Now, what does that mean? The oil that anoints the head of Aaron. Aaron is the high priest of the Most High. And this is such a precious oil. I mean, this oil doesn't go on nobody else's head in a man, but the high priest of the Almighty. And Aaron now, his beard obviously went down to the skirts of his robe. And so much oil was poured on him that the oil even ran down his beard, that went down to the skirts of his garment. That's how precious, that is how precious the brotherly love is amongst, those within the family. If the brotherly love is there, it is compared to that oil. The psalmist also continues to say, it is as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. Now, the Jew now, you would have heard the phrase that she is as pure as the morning dew. Or in the winter countries, she is as pure as the driven snow. So the driven snow and the morning dew are considered to be pure, clean, fresh, without any contamination, family. So when Psalms 133, which interestingly has 3 verses too, highlights that, listen, let me show you how precious it is when people live together in love. And remember, we're talking about Ethiopia. We're talking about the Psalms of David, the city of David, according to Chronicles chapter 33, 2 Chronicles 33, was on the west side of the river Nile, the river Gihon. So we understand that Christianity and the Psalms and everything of that nature has a special place in Ethiopia. So for it coming to life here is not no great, mistake. It's just reality. So that is why I am highlighting now. Is it the spirit of Menelik II that would have made its presence known for those of us who have eyes to see? And this is why the conflict began on his 131 coronation anniversary, the 3rd of November, and the same conflict came to an end on his 133 coronation anniversary, the 3rd of November, 2020. I mean, this is vision now. Those who have eyes will see. And 2022. Or did the people that attacked Tigray say, hey, tell you what, let's attack these people on Menelik the 2nd anniversary? Why should we do that? Symbolically. That's how the US do it and Britain do it. I've been studying them. Let's do it the same way. They attack on key dates. And then we're going to bring the war to an end on the same day. Teach these people, don't mess with us. And I'm not making light of it. I think over 150,000 people died. Remember, when you're talking about Adawa, Aksu, we're talking about them region, Lalibela, not necessarily in the Tigray region, also Amhara, but I'm just trying to show you we're in the north. And again, Menelik II, his spirit is there. Johannes IV, his spirit is there. You have to understand the spirit of the land, because this is a spiritual issue. It's an ethnic issue, but it's a spiritual issue. And I'm going to tell you, I am with the spiritual part. I don't believe nobody planned to attack on Menelik's anniversary. I think it just happened like that. And the cosmics align, and the spirit of Menelik is observing it all. Because when the battle is raging in Ethiopia, they say St. George will come down and assist the Ethiopians in the war. No, I don't think St. George picking no side here, because we're fighting amongst ourselves. But the great Daddy Menelik is still observing what is taking place. Interesting. All right. Hey, if you're just joining us, this is the Tiger's Nest. I don't even know if I can clearly say the program has begun as yet. You have missed a lot if you're just coming, but the program is just beginning. That was just the introduction. We have a lot more to get into this evening. As I said, previous evening, we were highlighting a documentary directly dealing with the conflict in Ethiopia, the conflict specifically in Eritrea, and we are going to continue with that this evening. We are going to hear the accounts of individuals who are directly related to the conflict that is taking place. I don't think you're going to hear the kind of spiritual expression that maybe I would have just given you. But that's for those of you who understand that everything is not what, as they say, it's more than meets the eye then. Everything is not what you see in front of you. There are layers to this. You have to read between the lines. I always ask, what's between the lines? White space. Yes, in graphic design, that's very important. White space is called sacred space. So read between the lines, And that's where the message really is. Yes, royal family, give thanks and praises. What we're going to do now, remember those of you who are listening to us on Radio Anu, on the internet, specifically on the website, this program will be premiered. At least this part of the program will be premiered on Radio Anu TV. So that means we have an audience watching us on the YouTube as we speak. So to the YouTube audience, what we're going to do, we're going to seal this premiere now. So this is going to come to an end here. And the rest of the program, you would have to come and visit us on Radio Anu, the international flavor, the universal spice, to get the rest of the programming this evening. So the link, for those who are watching, the link is in the description below the video. All you have to do is come down and press the link, and it will bring you straight to Radio Anu, and we will continue with this program. There's a lot more we have to get into. As I said, those of you who were with us previous night, the documentary that we began to investigate, we're going to continue with our investigation and analysis of it, see what we find, and bring more light to what is taking place with our brothers and sisters in the Horn of Africa. Very good. But before we go there, of course, I'm going to encourage you to like the video. I'm going to encourage you to share the link, royal family. Share the link of the video, those who are watching the video. But I think more importantly, share the link of Radio Anu so people can jump in now and get the rest of the discussion. So share it on Facebook. Share it on your WhatsApp groups. Share it on whatever else you're into. Just share it for us. And of course, everything will be perfect. Yes, royal family. This one is coming from the struggle era of the Tiger's Nest. Radio Anu. Press the link below.